From the front line in Indian Army to the frontiers in green energy, Colonel Rohit Dev has been a soldier, a senior leader. Today, he is the Managing Director of Reveille Energy. He is also a senior leader at the Indian Federation of Green Energy. We'll hear him speak about the green energy revolution that's happening in India. How important is bioenergy for our energy independence?
Bioenergy, by the word and by the implication, is a farm to factory connect. And the moment you have any ecosystem designed around the rural belt, it becomes a very intrinsic part of your growth story. I think in that capacity, with a population of about 1.85 billion by that time, we are looking at bioenergy to contribute nearly 15 to 25% of the energy bouquet, which is more self-reliant. So bioenergy is one big pathway beyond solar, wind, hydro, geothermal. This is a pathway.
What are some of the effective policies in play?
So there are good policies. So coming up with, say, the MNRE and MOPNG and Agricultural Ministry as well. A lot of policies have come to force. So, for example, there's a waste to energy policy. There's a policy on densification, which is catering to subsidies and for your machinery, basically, for briquetting and pelleting. And then there's policies on CBG as well.
Sir, coming about grassroots level, micro level, we spoke so much importance on the farmer or the landowners and so on. Is there what are some of the challenges? Is it about capex? Or can SMEs? What roles do SMEs play? How can they be empowered more? Right. For example, should I have to start with have a 50-100 crore to even get into the bioenergy, because that's how it feels from the outside?
No, you don't need so much of money in the upstream, right? So typical ballpark, maybe 100,000, biomass aggregation quantity metric tons should take straw, non-straw based at max about 2.753 million USD.
Okay.
Right. So if you're setting up a ethanol plant, which requires 3 lakh tons, so you're looking at 3 times that value, where you need the capex investment, right? That is entirely yours. B is the land issue. So if you take, for example, hypothetically the plant is here, and I want to have 3 lakh tons, and I do a survey feasibility study of maybe 150 kilometer radius, and I fix up these aggregation depots in various geographies around this plant, some nearer, some farther away, right? If it's on lease, it's a recurring cost.
Yeah.
If you buy out, it's a one-time cost. Does your project viability or assessment say that in a 30-year contractual, service life of that plant, if you buy the land today, is it much more economical? My answer is yes. I've done this maths with one of the global OMC, so I can tell you with a lot of conviction that if you actually take that land, and B is where do you take that land? You want to have these 20 satellites, because one of the satellites tomorrow will get owned by some other project partially. But if you have a land here, you're putting 70, 100 acres here, and if you were told to put another 150 acres more of land around this land and get that feedstock as one single haul into your own ownership, and then you can have any systems of conveyor belts and movement and drying and whatever you want to do. Does it cost more or cost less in the long run is the part, including the LC assessment of the entire thing. That's for major projects. The minor ones where you are talking about the farmers themselves, they need to be enabled in the upstream through a policy. I'm not looking at typically subsidy kind of an atmosphere. It doesn't work, because finally the farmer is going to give that biomass to an industry. Industry is going to work on a P&L basis. The farmer's process also can work on the same basis. Till the time that structure does not come in terms of consortiums or FPOs, whatever we were saying earlier, you need to enable them through those subsidies initially, right, to run that ecosystem. And I think the farmer or group of farmers should be always focused as a beneficiary in the upstream ecosystem. For example, if you are in a village and you can, in your entire area of Punjab, those pinds or villages, you can create an ecosystem of say 200 farmers to supply X quantity to a CBG project. So you get hooked on and directed to a project. That's a better configuration. So to enable this entire ecosystem, that project developer who's a little more known in the financial world should be able to carry this consortium as his partner or her partner. If that is the story, this sector will develop faster.
I understand, sir, but all of this has dependency on some a third person, one way or the other, right? Standalone. Let's say I want to get started in a small way
So if
in
you
the
want to,
bioenergy eco chain, value
so
chain.
it doesn't cost much. So you want to know as an entrepreneur where you can enter.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you are from the community where you have a little bit of lane over the biomass itself,
Right.
because आप पिंड में बैठे हो सब आपके दोस्त हैं. So that entire ecosystem starts there. You want to set up a plant, I would recommend that you initially start with the learning lessons of a densification plant.
Right.
Right. I'm not saying NTPC, but agnostic to which your off-taker is. A densification plant is the cheapest proposition today, where not only you do similar volumes for a 100 TPD plant, you're actually doing similar volume of collection for a 5 TPD CBG plant.
Okay.
The volume remains same.
Right.
But the capex here is much lesser.
What would it be?
Capex here, with depending on your choice of your
Feedstock,
machinery.
Machinery,
Feedstock will be okay.
Okay.
The machinery, imported Indian, whatever the costs are,
Right.
and plus the ESG norms which are applicable. If you adhere to them, so you should be working on a range of nearly 1 million USD. You should be able to set up a very decent plant.
Okay.
Very decent plant.
So that's the entry level.
Right.
That's
That's a higher side.
energy. Okay.
That's a higher side. People also set up at nearly half of that.
Oh, okay.
Right. So you can do that.
Okay.
Third is, you don't want to do either briquette pellet or you don't want to do biofuel. You do the miscellaneous. You put up a machine for, say, doing particle boards.
Okay.
Packaging material.
Right.
Capex is very, very less. Less than 50 lakh rupees. You can set up your plant very well in your own, backyard, and you can produce that and sell it. I'll give you an example. So in the agricultural ministry, they used to have mentor-mentee program through ICR 4 or 5 years back. I was part of one of those programs. So I mentored two young people. One was from Coimbatore. And when he discussed his idea, I asked him, what is the feedstock near your land? So he said, coconut. I said, whose farm? He says, my father's farm. I said, how big? He says, this big. So I said, how much of frond you can collect?
What do they call?
Coconut frond, yeah. So he said, XY quantity. I said, fine. So you set up a plant, make something for crockery and cutlery, or you can even start from a beverage straw.
Right.
That person went into beverage straw. And he sent his first container to a hotel in Dubai within a year or less.
Oh, wow. That's
right.
That's
and when I
super
asked
fast,
him, how much money did you make? He says, sir, with your advice, I have put one machine. With the profit, I'm putting 2 more.
Nice. Yeah.
So
it's paying for itself.
So it does depends. But see, I would not recommend corporate sector to enter these fields. That's my personal.
My question
my personal
started
belief.
with
Yes.
SMEs. Small
because
and
what happens is,
businesses.
an individual should do this.
Yeah.
He or her should do this.
Right.
There are many in this field, but this is a field for entrepreneurs. So when they get some confidence here, their next step could be other applications
corporate
as well.
Can invest along the
Anywhere.
value chain where there is huge capex and stuff.
But this should be left for younger people
for
to.
example, you look at
enter.
Startup culture today. You could be sitting in a Starbucks with one laptop.
Right.
You could really build something. For example, there are startups that there's Melora as a website,
Right.
e-commerce company. They raised 2 million from a VC fund, Lightbox Venture, with a presentation. They only had a PPT.
Right.
They didn't even have the team.
Is the idea.
They had the idea, they had the capability.
Yeah.
They found
After the
vendors
idea,
who
you
do-
need some.
Yeah. So what I'm trying to get is to find lucrative opportunities in bioenergy sans without huge capex, right?
Right.
That's where the conversation is.
This is the way to go. Otherwise, if you go to the CBG sector, that's the next one. So if you're a progressive farmer, you're earning well, you got higher land holding,
Right.
and you can invest in CBG directly. And CBG ranges from, per TPD 6 to 8, 7.5 crores.
Right.
That's the current value today to establish. So you can see beyond 5 TPD, 10, 5, 20, whatever you want to set up, that's the money requirement. But then you also need a corresponding hold on the biomass aggregation as well. So for a learner, it is better to set up a 50 TPD densification plant or the miscellaneous kinds initially, because you will have valuable self-learning lessons in the upstream.
Are the offtake assured here? Somewhat.
I will not say it's assured, because you can't set up a plant absolutely disjoint from the off-taker.
Okay.
So where you have NTPC, it's a beat of 100, 200, 300, whatever kilometers, which supports, depending on the condition of the surface communication as well,
Right.
how good your roads are, how do you commute that commodity. So all that factor inside, I think it's a huge market.
Okay.
In fact, the boiler industry has
So should
silently grown.
if I'm starting today, so first I go take the blessing of the offtaker, then come back and start.
No, you will have to, because if you're doing a business, you can't produce a commodity without any sales
Right. Yeah,
perspective.
yeah.
So that comes first. If you are very, very lucky and you get some off-taker who discuss the financials and he says he is willing to sign a longer contract, it's very good.
Right.
Shorter contract is still okay. But if your business, after producing, say, 100 tons per day, is hinging on spot sales and, 1 month reverse bidding of some company, you will have problems. And I've seen a lot of young people come back to me with these problems because when they put up the plant,
They made a short-term spike with a spot, but then next day they are wondering.
so somebody say set up a plant by May, June, say in Rajasthan area, right? They made a lot of money because the other states had rains ensuing, and they were making nice profit in this model. But post the rains, they all had a blank that way to sell it now, because the margins grew thinner, the profitability became lesser. So obviously they're looking at off takers. So it's a good sense that you first visualize your entire value chain of business, starting with the off-taker as well. Plus also the critical part is the upstream supply chain, because if you're not a villager yourself and you're going to the grassroots at that time to establish, this is a surety you need. I'll tell you how. Say a 1 million USD you are putting up a plant, hypothetically, so that's 8 CR. Say it's a 40,000 metric ton aggregation requirement. And say hypothetically today's market rate can be anything but say 4 rupees per kilo or 4,000 rupees is the cost of biomass. So what are you looking at? You're looking at 16 crores of biomass,
Right.
which is twice the
Capex.
capex, right? Similarly, when you do this maths with CBG, it's lesser, but it covers 3 years of biomass.
Okay.
In a bigger project, maybe 8 years of biomass, but the project life is 30 years, right? So overall, all these machines will get depreciation, which is the most recurring and important cost, is the feedstock cost,
yes.
right? The sustainable feedstock, that means quality, quantity, and price points, has to be the key before you set up anything.
So this goes back to the main upstream conversation that
yes. So these two, if done properly, this is the major thing, because see, finally you will set up a plant where there will be industrial area A there, B here, C there. You still have choice of the industry in the future, but you have mapped your thing that distance wise this many rupees will go for transportation. If I own my own transportation, this much, whatever combination.
Yeah.
So that math is worked out, but you still need a buyer, right?
From this conversation, also the supplier, the feedstock provider, right? Because
yes.
that's going to be
So feedstock is, you want to go to shopkeeper model, you can.
Or you develop backward integrate on your own.
So back in the day when I was working in a private sector, people used to tell me that these farmers in Punjab are getting greedy and they are asking for money. I said fine. So when I visited Punjab myself, I didn't find this happening actually. You know why this was happening? It was happening with those people who actually had cash. They were cash rich, but they wanted to subjugate the aspiration of the farmer because of the dilemma of that penalty. They were taking money from the farmer for clearing their fields. I learned my first lesson there, that when I was asked in my boardroom, I said, no, we will not do that. Ethically, as a Fauji, it didn't strike me that I should, swindle a farmer, and more so because I was interacting with not only farmers but veterans on the ground.
Oh, wow.
Right?
Yeah.
So ethically, I was not in that game. And I said, we have been giving how much? 1,200? We'll give 1,200. Let's make financial models based on this. So farmers should not suffer. So even if you're an outsider, if you ethically maintain the relationship with the farmer, and your cash flows are such that you're paying the farmer on time, 99% time your business will not fail because of feedstock availability.
So your supply is
that is one.
Yeah.
B, in the third year of running in Punjab and pan-India basis, I actually got the average cost of biomass down, which shouldn't have been the case. Today, if you ask anybody that can biomass come down, obviously with scales only it can come down, the process and your payment capabilities, right? So if you are actually true to this process, I will not say that a developer should plan on reduction of cost of the farmers, thing. But to a company at scale, it comes like that because you're not hiring so many SCM people, supervisor. So with one project, your gross margin fixed cost as A. With 100 projects, your efficiencies are scale comes to play.
Yeah.
So this becomes cheaper. It's not the case that he's selling you cheaper. So the common sense is that the more you scale up, the more you feel that there is abundance both in the rural economy and your project is also surviving better.
Got it. Talking about private sector, army, what are some of the lessons that you took from the battlefield to the boardroom today?
See, the first interplay everywhere is, how to get a job done.
Okay.
Right. And I will not say both sides are jobs, because there is much
No,
more.
but isn't army a very strictly top down, and
No,
today corporates are more flat and
it is.
yeah,
So there's a difference. It's a hierarchical structure there.
yeah.
But what works in the army also works in the
Mhm.
corporate sector. Let me take you back in time as well. Most of the mantras you read in business schools today, nearly 95% are learnings from militaries across the world.
Yeah, it would have evolved somewhere down. Yeah,
It's all
right,
evolved there.
right.
It's all evolved there, right? The only difference is that army is much more structured. A,
Hmm.
everybody is defined and tuned to a particular job role.
Yeah,
And B, the bonhomie comes from the camaraderie and the spirit de corps in the army,
yeah.
which is not there in the corporate sector, frankly.
Which is advised. Henry Fayol's 14
Yeah,
principles of management.
advice is one, but
Spirit de
that's
corps
where the
is
difference
the
comes. Yeah, spirit de
last
corps.
principle. Yeah,
So what happens is that in army, a jawan or an officer or a JCO is doing the same job he's doing or willing to fight and sacrifice. There are many reasons. One of the reasons which is very much indebted is that the reputation of the unit they are in.
yeah. Okay,
It plays a huge role,
sure.
right? The only thing in corporate sector which comes closer to this is the Tata Group to me.
Hmm.
I've seen it, you have seen it in your time, that Mumbai attack happened. Now, it intrigued me while I was in the army that that hotel had first floor, ground floor, all floors. And actually, a person can jump from the second floor also without getting much hurt. But first is reasonably okay, right? Why were the employees of that hotel willing to risk to save people and lives rather than jumping off a window and going off home? This intrigued me,
Right.
right? This only happens in the army because in the face of the bullet, you don't run away.
You run towards it.
You have to run towards it, actually,
Yeah.
right? So I'm not saying, these are two examples which match, but there are many examples, say, in a boardroom, when people start talking about, P&L, that's where the mindset start changing of people as well. Even of, a lot of entrepreneurs from the military side, I see them, their mindset changes when money comes to bear. And all boardrooms are designed for future valuations, money, growth path, all the CAGR comes into place. Profitability is a high talking point. In army, that's not the talking point at all. The talking point is very common. Defend your line, do your best, and leave the
Right.
rest.
So these are some differences.
So the
What are
differences.
commonalities? Yes.
Community is people,
Huh.
right? Humans have same level of anxieties, stresses, little more on less on the both
The
sides.
buttons are the same.
Buttons are the same. So, but what has changed in the army over the years is, when I was a kid and my father and others were in the system, you didn't have mobile phones.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't have any communications. We are so instantaneous. Today, if
Yeah.
a soldier has got a problem and a throat infection, and if a wife calls, or if wife has got a problem medical, she can call him over WhatsApp in a matter of seconds.
Yeah.
Right? And he gets worried. Earlier, if the wife was not well or the mother was not well
You
or
take
the father
3
was
4
not
days
well,
to even hear about it. Yeah.
no, not 3-4 days, 15 days.
Oh wow.
The postal delivery system is to come from civil, from Fauji FPO to a civil, to somebody, and then reach you some height or some remote place. It used to take time. By the time it reached you, that problem already solved.
Yeah, they would have recovered. Hopefully.
Right?
Yeah.
But today it reaches you, so it creates anxiety.
Hmm.
It is similar to a young executive working in any corporate sector. He or she is sitting on a table and working and sending a message,
Incessant.
mother is not well.
Yes. Ting,
Right?
ting, ting, ting,
So
ting.
I think that thing is a very big common. It's not a negative, but it's something which leaders have to
Reality of the day.
deal with. So
Yeah.
how you deal with is, at one side is compassion, and at one side is no compassion. Right? That's the way leaders deal, and both kind of leaders you will find in military also, and in the corporate sector as well. So it's just that how you deal with them. That's people part. The second part is, army is the bonhomie, I can say, is much larger as a collective.
Right.
As a collective, because your purpose, your aim, objectives are very well defined and known to you from your training days. Whereas in a corporate sector, a person has to be groomed and nurtured and oriented first.
And then
It
you
takes
change
time.
job, it starts all over.
And plus B, a person in his career of 10 years can do 3 jobs, 2 jobs. Today I find in 3 years people have done already 6 jobs. It's the other way around. And when you ask them that,
No, 6 months feels like boring.
why
too
did you
long.
change? And the nasty answer, one hears in corporate sector is, this was much more rewarding.
Yeah.
And I don't know what rewarding is, because
So rewarding is reasonable motivation. I have
Yes.
heard answers as boring. कुछ नहीं हो रहा यार, कुछ
वो भी
नहीं
है.
चाहिए. Like
But
this.
see, in army first, there's nothing boring. Every day at 4 o'clock in the morning, the day is different, right?
Yeah.
So boring part is out of the question. The other good part there is that you are able to train people with the same spirit and core values, which you take on for years with you. Your core values don't change, right? For example, you work in a company, similar software company B, if you work, if the ethical part of that company is a little different, you may leave that company, or you may,
Get reoriented.
get reoriented the company.
Yeah.
That's not the nature of
Right.
the beast in the armed forces. 99%. One or can be modified, but mostly it's more disciplined, it's more structured, and that's the way it has been for the longest time. And the other thing which is much more common is that the level of the youth, which has changed. I remember the strictness of training before my time, actually, and how the recruits used to enter the army. I see a sea change in the recruits who enter today, which are nearly similar to a young executive entering the corporate sector. So you're coming from the same society, same grain, and but it takes army nearly 6 to 9 months to make you a soldier.
Okay.
But the corporate sector has to today adjust to that person, actually, because moment you come into a place, your HR norms, your this and that, everybody is well read, they know their rights very well. Army soldier officer may know the book, but they don't know their these kind of rights. Right? They know they got leave, so they will apply for a leave. If leave is not granted at particular point of time because of XYZ reason, they will understand. That is not the case here, because here people take it as that it's my 21 days, I'm asking for it, what's your problem? Right? So that's a change as well. So I think same breed, different orientation and training makes a lot of difference, but nothing against the corporate sector, because the leadership.
No, I'm curious about how are you using some of those learnings today, right?
So very simple. If you have been with trained people, it's very easy to distinguish the gaps in a system or a set of people or an individual who is not meeting those norms. It's easy to identify, actually, right? And when you identify the problem or the issue, you are able to devote your time and energy to make it correct. So you are a very, very good, I can say with a lot of conviction for a lot of many veterans, when we sit with somebody and we speak, we are able to make out that person's near genetic constitution in a very reasonable time.
Right.
So that's the learning, because you have dealt with all kinds of people in peace and field, both conditions. So for you to be now seeing anybody at that level, it's very easy to see through and relate and apply the right fix to correct it. That's the first part. The second is, I don't know, it's a problem which I face, I don't know about you, is time and punctuality.
Oh, yes.
Right? This is a big learner for me, because in army, when you're invited to a
minute is a minute, a second is a second.
So if you're invited to a meeting, you better be there little early, right? If you're invited to a party, you enter the party room 5 minutes late, because you give that thing to the host to prepare. I don't see it happening here. I don't see it with even very senior corporate sector players. Given a time, not available, and then writing a WhatsApp that I got delayed because of rains. I mean, how can the same rain delay you but not me? So if you anticipate rain, you got AccuWeather.
Right.
My soldier didn't have AccuWeather. You have AccuWeather, and you're still late. So I think these are some mismatches I see in the corporate sector. But on the lighter side, it's okay. So obviously, when you wait,
you have to acclimatize.
No, we're already acclimatized. So but still, it does not.
On the climate,
but it still does not let me be late.
Of course not.
Right?
Why would you?
So even if I see that this is a reasonable excuse, right? The other day I went to a function on 15th August, a day prior in schools it happens. So somebody invited me over in Greater Noida, and it was pouring cats and dogs when I started from home. Halfway I get a call. They actually assumed that I will not come, because I think some other guest had called to say it's raining too bad, right? So I said, no, I'm already in Ghaziabad side turning into Greater Noida. I'll reach. I reached there 15 minutes early, and I started half an hour early, because I presumed it's going to rain,
So
and I
hence you might
presume
need longer.
I saw the Google, and I added 45 minutes to it. If somebody didn't add that much time, he wouldn't have been on time.
Right.
And when I entered that hall, and I asked them that, how many parents did you invite? Did you invite nearly all? So many were invited, but the number of rows of parents were very limited. So imagine you are missing, it's something of a value system of our society as well. If your son or daughter is not, getting a banner or a, say a, head boy or head girl status, and the rain is impeding, you're willing not to come for that event, which is your child's event.
Right.
I had nothing to do with that school otherwise. I would have very easily said, okay, I had my pakoda at my house only. But that's the way to look at it. So I think the societal fabric is something which, our country needs to focus and we're going to take it forward. Old culture, values of societies.
Sir, one message, short and kind of a mantra, rememberable for today's young entrepreneurs in bioenergy.
I can only tell them as entrepreneurs only one thing, that be true to yourself and have that perseverance. Perseverance is very important to carry any business firstly. But as an entrepreneur in this field, you will have a lot of challenges. So don't give up. But when you succeed, retain the ownership of what you have created for the longest time, because if you give away your ownership to
have an IP with you.
So if you give away that ownership to an entity which is foreign in nature, it is going to impinge on the security of energy in our country only.
Right.
So don't be like the IT sector. IT is okay. You make an app, you sell it today, no problem, because somebody more intelligent will make a better app tomorrow morning here only. Right. So that's not a threat. The threat is in the energy sector, because if your IPs are compromised, you sell them off too early, your company, then there's a problem with entrepreneurs.
Rapid fire questions. Answer in 2-3 words at best.
Okay.
Yeah? Okay. So what taught you more patience, entrepreneurship or army?
Entrepreneurship.
One underrated feedstock of India.
Underrated feedstock.
Yeah.
See, I can't give you a direct answer because many are not utilized today. But on a jovial side, when you travel in, riverine terrain, you have a lot of sarkandas, right? Sarkanda can be chopped, it can be crushed into powder and used as a fuel. Why I'm saying this is because I used it during the time of COVID, when supply chains were failing and my people said that, not getting a crop currently from any farmer. I said, you've been all Fauji's, walk along the river line, collect all the sarkandas.
Wow. Okay.
So you have to look for new feedstocks which are not generally on the map.
A habit or routine that you continue to follow since your army days?
Make my bed. That is true for, I think, many army people. I'm not sure of all, but many.
Right.
That's the first thing you do actually by response.
Okay. Any book or a mentor who influenced your lifestyle, life?
Oh, many.
Anyone into top 2?
Top 2, I'll say recent.
Okay.
Okay. So the only book is a living book called Mr. Modi, which inspires a lot of people.
Right.
But in military life, my books have been people like General Arjun Ray, if you can read on him, he's from Bengaluru. Very strict. I'll tell the quality because quality is very important. I hardly find in sectors like ours, even corporate sector, people who are absolutely no-nonsense people, right? They know what the objective is. They want to achieve it. They follow their time and heart into that process. They train people hard because they don't want them to die tomorrow. And those kind of people are absolutely ruthless in training, in peacetime. So I have actually loved those generals like him, like General Panag and others. I have loved those leaders. In terms of time utilization, I have liked Mr. Modi, like I said. But the first person who actually came to my mind initially when I left the armed forces was Mr. Obama. And my intriguing question was that 24 hours is same for all. And you find him running the world nearly, attending all meetings, launching military attacks, sitting in a boardroom or a war room, playing with his dog, playing with his daughters. So time is same. Time is a constant. It's how you utilize the time. And that was the period when I saw things around. I said, I must also move out because I also need to devote this 10, 12 hours fruitfully in a day. So I think those were my inspirations. And the only motivator I have is my mirror every day in the morning. When I see my own face, I understand I have not done anything last evening. I need to do more. That's it. Right. That's the motivation.
Which has been more challenging, days in your army or as a businessman?
None.
Okay, interesting.
See, challenge. How do you perceive challenge? Because I perceive
You need
challenge.
a more effort than you normally put to get there. Can I lift 5 kilo? Yes. Can I lift 50? Really hard. Can I lift 150? Let me. No, sorry.
No. So if you're
So
seeing
5 is
from
easy, 50 is
if you're seeing
challenging.
from that perspective, that
Yeah.
what has energized you more to find solutions,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's been both ways.
Okay.
Obviously, I've lived in the army for a longer time, so I
Right.
had more challenges there to find a solution to. But the solutions to be found in the corporate sector are quite different in nature.
Right.
They are much more enabled and centered through people, through processes, through legislations, and things like that. In army, we didn't have a problem about at least the legislation part, because the army rule book was very well defined. So I don't think so. Beyond a point, unless there is a no solution zone, I don't think anything is a challenge in life. You should be able to, go through it.
Right. One word for India's current bioenergy category.
One word.
Yeah.
One word would be scalable.
Scalable. Thank you.
It is hugely scalable, and it must be done.
Right.
And you talked about challenges, so I think that there are immense challenges and much more opportunities in this sector.
Any one country that inspires you in terms of their achievement in energy sufficiency or bioenergy?
Oh, many, but I think the next dream is around second generation fuels, so could be Brazil.
Brazil.
And the other is India itself, because while we don't talk about it, the numbers are quite different. We are the only country which is achieving its renewable targets before time.
Right.
We are the only country with one of the largest mandates for transition, because
The Paris Agreement or the
no largest, that means that GHG emission by 2070 net zero is a huge goal. I'll tell you why. 1.85 billion is our would be population that time, given all the controls and whatever is happening today. That's our anticipated population. We are a developing country, so our billion people, their aspirations have not been met, not even 40%, 30%. Right? You still to get a TV and all the gadgets into your room.
AC and car.
Whereas in the developed country, those needs are met. So that way, there's a huge opportunity for scaling our energy sector more based on renewables. So I think that is where India has got a huge opportunity. And opportunity itself is an indicator of where we are going to go. So by that nuance, I think we are one of the bigger countries in the world to look at today. So while we may look at models from Netherlands, Germany, biogas and ethanol part in Brazil, or LNG half in California, or whatever Japan is doing now, but I think we need to constantly look at ourselves in the mirror every day, because that is where the maximum is going to happen actually.
Thank you, sir. Genuine pleasure having you here
Same
with
here,
us today.
Shivam. Thank you so much.
Wish you all the best.
Thank you.